everyone, I'm Lindsay Hoffman and welcome to the Dose of Bliss show. If you're new to my channel, don't forget to hit the subscribe button. Today's episode, we're talking all about the new year, new goals. It's been a really hard time, 2020, 2021. We got to set goals, we got to manifest, and we're going to talk about what it means. I have an amazing guest today. She's a TV personality and lifestyle expert, and she's all about this. We have Allie Levine.
Hi, Lindsay. Thanks for having me.
Thank you so much for being here. I am so excited.
Yes, I am too. I told you before we were recording, I was so excited to be here. I love everything you're doing and what you're about. I got to be a part of one of your amazing mashup events, and we just aligned and started chatting, and you're going to be on my podcast. So I'm so excited to be here.
I can't wait. And for everyone watching when I'm on hers, I'm going to link that so you can see too. And everyone who's a fan of my show knows all I talk about is law of attraction and how like attracts like. And, we invited you to our event. We came across you, or I don't even know how we found you, or if you RSVP'd.
Hey, my girlfriend, Pamela, introduced us.
Oh,
Pamela
yeah.
I love Pamela.
Yeah. So, yeah, a mutual friend introduced. I was looking for people to come to our events, and she came. And the vibe of everything I do is all about this energy. And she just happened to have it and messaged me and was on it. And then I saw she had a similar podcast. And now here we are. And that's just is what I'm all about.
I love it. I know it's true. It's the law of attraction, the law of circulation, all of it. It's people think that, these things are just oh, it's the law of attraction. But it's no, if you actually really think about it and you take the quote unquote woo out of it, and, oh, you're so woo, you're so out there. And I'm no, it's legit. There's studies on the fact that you put positive vibes out, you get positive vibes in. You actually think about things gratefully and thinking gratitude, and don't think about what I'm going to get back and how is this going to do for me. And you just serve others. You serve each other. You serve the collective, and we all come back together. That's exactly what happened. It was hey, we aligned. We got to do your amazing event, and now here we are with your podcast.
Yeah. It's a frequency, and we all know that there are frequencies, and we've all felt that. And I think that's the perfect segue into the new year. 2020 has been a hard year for everyone, but I want to talk about energetically what that means, and also what that means for setting goals for next year, because I don't know if it's just me that feels this, but I feel even though the year's been really hard, I feel it was what's needed in a weird way. We needed to get everything that we were holding internally out, and now it's we just have to face it.
I love that you said that, because I completely feel the same way. It's crazy because I've said to so many friends of mine and even some family, this year, as hard as it's been, as intense as it's been for all of us, for in all different ways, it really has been this year of if you have the eyes to see it, you're seeing everything truly clearly, 2020.
Perfect vision.
Yeah, exactly. It's 100%. It's if you're actually willing to see it, whether it's corruption or it's something's false or programming or whatever it is for you, because for everyone it's something different, or it's everything, but it's your eyes have been opened, you've been awakened in a sense. And for me, I was pregnant obviously with Arlie, my second daughter, and when the pandemic hit, it was oh shit for me, because it was oh my gosh, my birth plan's changing, the hospital I want my husband in, this is happening, that's happening. It was all these things, and I was spinning out of control, and I realized that I was heavily allowing the outside to influence my inside. And I was just whoa, I can't do this. This is a happy time for me. I'm having my second daughter. Regardless of what's going on, this is still a blessing. This is still something that we wanted as a family. I need to hone in on that. And so the more I practice gratitude, the more I practice really just being about my family and, what we were doing, and making sure our home was harmony and happy, for the most part, and just keeping things in flow, the more I was able to stay in a good place. And then also move that into when she was here and everything, to being okay, you know what? This year is a teaching year. And let's be real. None of us like to sit. Okay. I don't like to sit in my own shit, but sometimes, and 2020, I believe, has truly forced that. It's you're not going to be comfortable with this. Too bad. You're not going to do it. So I'm going to do it for you. And it's the universe has literally shooken and rattled us to the core, to where now it's you're going to face it. You're going to figure it out, whether you like it or not. And I think that we can all agree that change comes from things being shooken up. You never see change when things are comfortable. It's always then stays the same and stagnant. And what you're saying of we all needed this, whether we realized it or not. We were all on an autopilot. We were all just doing things in motion without even really thinking about it. I know for me, I was just going. When I was pregnant with Arlie, I was running to another TV show, and my doctor even said hey, could you slow down for a second, and like, you know, the baby might come early because you're running around so much, and you know, she's dropping lower and all these things, and you're like, yeah, I'm good. And I was just kind of like, you know, it was like noise to me. It's like, oh, I got to keep working, gotta keep doing me. But then the pandemic hit, and it like forced me to sit on my ass and be home and like actually like grow this baby and be intentional. And I think about that now, and I'm like, wow, what a gift that I got to like meditate and journal and like sit with this pregnancy and actually like be present to being pregnant. And like, why is it, you know, before the pandemic, I couldn't do that. Like I had to like actually have a pandemic to make me sit down and like realize how much I wasn't like in flow, and I wasn't like aligned, and I just wasn't slowing down. And I think whether, you know, you're pregnant or not during this time, all of us can agree in some way, shape, or form, we all been on this like fast track. What's next? How do I be more successful? How do I do this? Like a rat race.
Mm-hmm.
And not that like there weren't good things, of course, before, but it's like obviously in some way, shape, or form, I believe that really wasn't serving us or serving us as a collective. And so in order to change things, in order to, you know, like you said, move to these higher frequencies, we have to be shooken up in order to get out of our comfort zone. We have to be shooken up to kind of get out of this like matrix feeling. We have to move forward to say, is this really serving me? Do I really want this? And am I going to take this into this new world? Because that's really where we're going. I mean, we obviously just, you know, went through the whole conjunction and 1221, the amazing, you know, Jupiter and Saturn coming together. And, you know, it's like everybody obviously has different ideas about that. But like for me, I see it as like literally new earth, you know, the Bethlehem star 800 years later. I mean, you can't make this shit up. I mean, you know, it's like, it's there. I mean, you can see it in the sky. You know, you see the rings of Saturn, like the color of Jupiter. I mean, it's crazy. And it's like, okay, in a way, to me, the world is saying like, wake up, wake up. There's more to pay attention to. There's more to tap into. And like going into 2021, like I'm taking that, like I'm taking all the lessons as hard as they were with me. And I don't plan on going back to this, like quote unquote, used to be our normal, like, not that I want to be in what we're in right now, but I don't plan on like going back to that like hustle bustle rat race that like I didn't even know going on in life. I plan on being more present. I plan on being more intentional and really being aware of my space and my boundaries and the energy I allow in. Also the connections. Like I've never connected with more amazing people like you and so many others during this time that like I'm going to be real. Yeah, same. I've made so many friends. And like, I'm going to be real. I wouldn't have had time for those people if it had been a normal world.
Mm-hmm.
I would have been running, oh, hey, yeah, we can get coffee and never answer. Like, because that's just kind of the mode we were all in. And like, there's been this slowing and almost in the beginning, obviously like this halt of like screeching brakes where for everybody was like, whoa, what's happening? Me too. But now we've been in this for a little bit and we're moving into 2021. And it's like, okay, life is still kind of like this. So obviously we're supposed to take away things from this. We're supposed to learn from some of this. We're supposed to find, you know, the blessings in this. We're supposed to find the lessons. And I know that it's not easy. And I know that like a lot of people have said to me like, oh, it's so easy to say that. And I'm like, yeah, it is easier to say that than to actually do it. But even for myself, like I've had to sit with myself and do breath work and meditate and ask myself like, what does serve me and what doesn't? What does make me happy and what doesn't? And those are hard questions to ask myself as an entrepreneur of all the things I'm working on and constantly building. I'm like, oh, but I want to do it all. And then I look at myself and I go, but that doesn't really serve me anymore. And that doesn't necessarily make me happy anymore. And why am I doing this if this doesn't equal this? And it's like, it really connects you back to like your why of like, what are you doing for your own self? Why did you start that in the first place? Did your why get lost along the way? And so going into 2021, for me, it's not necessarily about like setting goals per se. It's more about like that manifestation and the actual process of like, what is your why, Allie? What are you working towards? What are the steps you're going to take to get there for you, no matter what's going on in the world? What are you going to be doing for you? You know, personal care, business, family, all the things that are important. And how are you going to map that out to then get yourself to that next level of what you truly want in your life? You know, and I think that that's like really important going into 2021. It's like people are already saying like, you know, I want to be able to get back to normal and I want to do this and I want to do that. And it's like, I get it. We're all exhausted. We all have like this fatigue. But at the same time, it's like, I think we have to all be realistic and say, you know what? It's not going to necessarily be right away again. It's going to take some time. So like, find the things that maybe you wouldn't be able to do if the world was spinning so quickly and ask yourself, what is it I can work on it? What is it that I want to go into in 2021? Do I want abundance? You know, do I want clarity? Do I just want more peace? Like, what is it for you that matters? And sit with yourself and ask yourself those hard questions of like, why are you not reaching those, you know, goals or, you know, feelings or whatever it may be? And why is it that maybe something still triggers you that maybe shouldn't trigger you anymore? You know, like you were saying, things are coming up that like maybe we don't want to deal with. And it's like, well, yeah, it's true. And it's like, it's the frequencies. It's like we're essentially, in my opinion, like letting go of so many old frequencies and habits and like denser energies and things that don't serve us anymore. And we're being pushed to ascend further. And it's a beautiful ascension, a beautiful way of, you know, coming into a new world, a new earth. But at the same time, people aren't ready to let go yet. There's a lot of people who are still really holding on to the reins and are like, wait, this is what's made me comfortable for so long. And it's like, well, yeah, because for decades, this has been our world. And now this new earth that literally started supposedly like yesterday, it's a brand new earth. And it's like, to me, I don't know, it makes me so excited. Like, I'm like, wow, so many new opportunities, so many things are changing. Like, this is so exciting. And there's some people I notice who are just completely shook and rattled. And they're like, I liked how things were. And I'm like, okay, I get it. Like, we all like to be comfortable. But like, let's be real. If you sit on your couch, right, and you're sitting there and you're like, I'm comfortable here, is anything really going to happen when you're sitting on your couch and you're comfortable? No. You have to be shook to say, like, what's going to make me uncomfortable, make me make a move. That's how I kind of view this happening and what we're even going to go into in 2021. It's like, I've already prepared myself mentally to know 2021 is probably not going to be what most people think it's going to be.
Yeah, it's going to just be, you know, I'm hoping it's going to be all the things that are shaken up within me, that I'm able to move forward with those steps of the things that came up. And you were saying some good points that I was thinking about. I know for me, I felt a lot of things that I had like pushed away that I didn't want to deal with. And I thought, you know, I'm all about manifesting. I'm all about positivity. Like, I do these exercises, and all of a sudden I'm like, whoa, like there's all these questions. And I'm normally asking myself these questions, but now that it's stopped, you know, it's kind of like we always ask the world, like, oh, I wish life could stop for a minute so I had more time. It's like, now I have time, but now I have to like deal with everything. And I think it's the way also you look at it, like why people don't want to, you know, necessarily grow. It's like what's on the other side is great, but to get there doesn't always feel good. And I think it's how you look at that. Like, I look at when I'm feeling a lot of pain, like there are times I feel so much anxiety and so much like depressed and so bad that I can't even sometimes get out of bed. You know, like I said, the triggers will pop up and it'll be so bad, but I don't sit and think of that as like my forever. I'm like, wow, this is a good thing. Like, this stuff is coming out of me that was in me that needs to come out. And once it does come out, I'm going to be able to feel better. And I think people don't want to have that thought. They feel like, I've even felt that emotion. You feel that thought coming, like, I don't want to feel it. It's too much to deal with. I need to get through the day. And that's where they're scared. And it's like, exactly, how are you going to grow to be the better person? Like, if the stuff's coming in service to let out, you need to let it out and feel it, but see it as growth.
I love that you said that because it's so true. It's like, again, like, you know, you sit in your shit and nobody wants to do it, myself included. But it's like, once you do, like you're saying, you start to move these energies. I mean, everything's energy, whether people want to actually like buy into that or not. It's like legit. I mean, we're all actual like of light. Like when you leave this earth physically, like your physical form stays, like, I mean, spiritually and energetically, your physical form stays, and your spiritual, like your light, whatever you believe, like scientifically says, like it leaves, like it goes somewhere else. So it's like, we are all energy. Everything around us is energy. So it's like, when you really tap into that and think about that and what you're saying, Lindsay, it's like, well, yeah, you have to release the energy that's inside of you, that's sitting, that's festering, that's like, I want to get out, I want to get out, this is triggering me, this is bothering me. And it's like, nobody wants to face it, nobody wants to deal with confrontations, nobody wants to have to be in that because it's uncomfortable, and nobody wants to be uncomfortable. But it's like you said, once you do and you face it head on and you let it come up, instead of sitting and festering and just being there, all of a sudden it's like, oh, this is growth. Oh, this is evolvement. And now you're evolving in a whole new way, and you feel so much better. And it's like, if we could remember that sometimes like the darkest moments actually bring us to like the lightest points, then it would be so much easier. But for whatever reason, even myself included, I forget that. And like, I had to remind myself of that during this time too, because I went through pretty heavy postpartum depression right after I had Amelia. And it was really hard for me for almost a year. And I went through my own heavy triggers and all kinds of growth. And when I came out of it, I like really saw the light at the end of the tunnel, and it really got me to where I am today. And I look at now with how I handled, being pregnant in a pandemic and giving birth during a pandemic. And I'm like, wow, I would have never been able to see like the gifts and the blessings and the, just the beauty in this time with my second daughter and becoming a mom of two, like, because I went through such a heavy time with Amelia, and I went through such a dark time, and then found the light at the end and really did evolve and really did grow. But it took a lot of work on my end to do, and still meditating, breath work, journaling, cognitive thinking. I mean, there's so much work I do with myself daily that I check in with myself because it's so necessary and so healthy for me to do it. And it forces me to further evolve and to grow and to continue to experience, as a mom of two now. And I think that, now that I have Arlie and I went through that whole thing with the pandemic, with my birth and everything, it's like now I look at this time and I'm like, wow, I'm getting to adjust to being a mom of two, and I'm getting to have my husband home to experience it with me. And like, that wasn't a reality when Amelia was born, and he was at work all the time. And, I look at the blessings that are coming from this time, and I'm like, wow, I'm so grateful that I'm so present to being like a mom of two and enjoying it and like relishing in it. And it's actually like my husband Justin said to me, he's like, it's crazy to watch you this time around, because with Amelia, it was like instant postpartum depression. And he's like, and with Arlie, it's like postpartum euphoria, if that even exists. And I'm like, it's true though. Like it's crazy, but it's like, it just shows you for my own growth, like how dark everything was to like how bright it is now. And people will say to me, online and emails and my blog, and they'll be like, oh my gosh, everything is so beautiful in your life. Like you're so blessed. And I'm like, yes, I am. But I also did the work and still do the work to be here and get here. And that's what I think it's all about. It's like in this time, if we can all really look at 2020 and say, how do I want to blossom out of this? How do I want to come out of this stronger, better, more evolved, more growth? Not look at, oh my God, this happened. Oh my God, that happened. We're all aware of what happened in 2020. We all know how heavy there have been things, but it's like, where were the teaching moments? Where were the lessons for you personally? What did you learn? What did help you evolve? I guarantee you, if we all sat here and wrote down, in a journal, 5 things that we are, maybe not grateful for, but that we learned in 2020, you could look at each of those things and find something that could still teach you how to move into 2021 and tap into your why and say, how is that then going to help me myself in goals, in these affirmations I want for myself, in what it is I am building for myself? Because at the end of the day, you're in charge of you. And so you can say no to the world all you want, and you can just want to stay in bed all day, and that's fine. But then that's how you are handling it. And then that's going to be a reflection and a product of you. And don't get me wrong, there have been plenty of days where during this time I have needed to just stay in bed, and I've had the girls watch TV, and I just have my snack and they have their snack, and I'm like, it's a zombie day today. We're doing nothing. I don't have the energy to show up today. I can't do it. But you know what? That's one day. And then the next day, I'm back to it and I'm doing what I need to do. And I check in with myself, because rest is just as productive as everything else, even though society maybe doesn't tell us that.
Yeah.
But it is. I mean, it really is. I mean, you were saying too in the beginning, that this has been such a teaching time, that even for yourself, that you have allowed yourself to learn so much and find what's going on with you and how to work through those things. That's part of rest. That's part of being productive. That's part of helping you evolve. But at the same time, it's like this, juggle and harmony, if you will, of saying like, okay, I allowed myself to rest. I allowed myself to have that little pity party. Now, how am I going to get back at it? What am I going to focus on? What are going to be the things that are going to continue to drive me in a positive direction, so that no matter what's going on out there, I'm continuing to do the work in here?
It's the mindset. Like some days you're just like, I didn't do a good job of not being stressed out today. I don't want to make myself sick, but I didn't do that good today. But you know what? I tried today. Maybe another day will be better. And you just got to take it one step at a time. And I think the skills that we took from 2020, that we learned from going through the hardship, we're going to be able to carry that to the rest of our lives and be stronger people for it. And really, I think there's been a whole shift in the world. I mean, you look at all the things that were invented, like new ways for vaccines and for medicine, more jobs that are now working from home, people having to like pivot what their job is to find another way to make money. So many things we can find in our life.
Well, I love what you said. First off, I was just like, yes, because it's true. It's like, the mindset is everything. It's something I've had to learn, and especially going through my postpartum depression, like I realized like that was all mindset, that was all crumbling and just horrible thoughts, and why I was struggling with my postpartum depression. And so with me, it's Like I'm very, very intentional, and I'm very all about my mindset. And if I feel something is changing my mindset, I turn off whatever that is, news, social media, whatever it may be that's going on that might be triggering or changing the way I'm feeling. I'm very aware of that. And I'm very intentional about my space and what I allow in and what I consume. And so if it's not something that's inspirational, it's not something that's helping me, it's off. Whether it's off that day, it's off for the week, whatever it is. So I just want to say to people, like, I know this time there's a lot of inundation, there's a lot going on, but like really be protective of your, really, the world is shifting to a higher frequency. Like we are only going up. Things are only, moving to a positive direction. It's going to get bumpier before we get there. I truly like feel that in my own gut, but I do believe that it is going to be beautiful. And I do believe, like Lindsay said, we have learned so much, and we're going to take it to move forward and to also bring like it back to us as individuals and how amazing we are, and that we don't need these huge systems and programs around us. We're able to thrive as us and who we are of sovereign being, which I think is amazing, because that's what, nature and God and everything else intended. And so I think that's something I really keep in mind. And I would just say for my, defining moments, it's really, like I said, my postpartum depression was one of them. And I think that when my grandmother passed back in 2013, that really like shook me to my core. She was like a second mom to me, and I named my first daughter after her. And I went really dark, and I really didn't handle it, very well. I didn't know how to handle grief, and I didn't know how to express myself. And it was hard. I went through a lot of hardships with it. And it was a very teaching moment for me, because it really showed me not only how obviously precious life is, but also how much I had to learn how to like stand on my own 2 feet and be like independent woman and trust in myself, because I went to her for everything. Like she was not only my rock, but she was like my safe haven of like checking with this and checking with that. And it's like, that's beautiful and it's great to have, but it's like, it goes back to what we've been saying this whole show is like, you have to tap into you. You have to trust your inner knowingness. You have to trust your intuition and trust that you have that guidance, because we all do. And the more you can tune out the noise and the more you can tune into yourself, the more you're going to find what it is you're truly aligned and destined to be doing.
Amazing message to go into the new year with, that we need to focus on ourselves, and it's not selfish, and it's good, and we're going to learn, and we're going to be better as long as we face it. I really appreciate you coming on the show today. Can you tell everybody where they can find you, and also where they can find your podcast?
You can find me at Ali Levine Design on all social media. My website is alilevine.com, ALILEVINE.com. And my podcast is Everything with Ali Levine. Anywhere you listen to this amazing podcast, you can find mine. And Lindsay will be on soon too. And yeah, so come say hello if anything resonated with you, or you just want to say hi. I love to connect with others, and especially about this and everything going on with this whole new earth. Like I'm all about it. So come talk to me.
My followers. I'm going to link everything below. You need to follow her. Like I said, everyone comes to my channel and they're like, how do you find these amazing people? You have to be on that frequency. If you're open to it, you're going to find it. So I wanted to show her to the world and to you guys. Thank you so much for coming, and thank you all for watching. If you're new, don't forget to subscribe, and we'll see you next time. Bye.